The Samsung Galaxy S26 lineup is expected to be one of the most powerful and advanced smartphone series of 2026, and new leaks about its processor are already making waves. The big news is that Samsung's new Exynos 2600 chip, designed and built in-house, is showing incredible performance numbers, even beating some of the top chips from Apple and Qualcomm for years. Samsung fans have debated whether Exynos or Snapdragon processors are better. Snapdragon chips have usually been faster and more efficient, which is why Samsung used them for all Galaxy S25 models last year. But now, the tables might be turning. The Exynos 2600 seems to be Samsung's best chip yet, and it could finally put an end to that long-running debate. According to new Geekbench results, the Exynos 2600 is showing a big performance improvement compared to earlier tests. The older results already showed that it was ahead of Apple's A19 Pro and Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite. But the latest numbers look even stronger. The earlier scores showed a single-core result of 3,309 and a multi-core result of 11,256. The new benchmark results have improved to 3,455 in single-core and 11,621 in multi-core. These numbers suggest that Samsung has done some final optimizations to squeeze even more power out of the chip before launch. To put it simply, the Exynos 2600 is now faster than both Apple's A19 Pro and Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite in multi-core tests. That's a huge win for Samsung and a sign that its long-term investment in chip development is finally paying off. For comparison, the Snapdragon 8 Elite, which powers many 2025 flagship phones, scores about 2,865 in single-core and 9,487 in multi-core tests. Apple's A19 Pro scores 3,753 in single-core and 9,702 in multi-core. So while Apple still leads slightly in single-core performance, Samsung's Exynos 2600 clearly wins in multi-core, meaning it's excellent at handling heavy multitasking and complex tasks. This progress means Samsung could confidently bring back Exynos-powered models for the Galaxy S26 series in several markets. Unlike the Galaxy S25 lineup, which used only Snapdragon chips worldwide, the S26 lineup could again be split between Snapdragon and Exynos, and this time, users might not mind getting the Exynos version. Of course, benchmark numbers don't tell the whole story. A high score doesn't always mean a better real-world experience. Things like battery life, temperature control, and software optimization play a big role in how a phone actually performs day to day. Older Exynos chips often struggled with heating issues and lower battery efficiency compared to Snapdragon versions. But Samsung says it has solved those problems with the new 2nm design, which makes the chip faster and more power efficient. If that turns out to be true, the Exynos 2600 could be a major turning point for Samsung. Still, it's too early to say how it will perform in real-world use, like gaming, video recording, or long hours of multitasking. Those tests will only be possible once the Galaxy S26 phones are officially out. But so far, the results look very promising. What's clear is that Samsung is finally catching up, and maybe even pulling ahead of its biggest rivals. The difference between Exynos and Snapdragon chips is now so small that most users probably won't notice it in daily use. Both will deliver smooth performance, great gaming, and excellent multitasking. The Galaxy S26 series might mark the start of a new era for Samsung, one where its own Exynos processors can stand shoulder to shoulder with the best in the industry. If the company keeps improving at this rate, Exynos chips could soon become the gold standard for Android flagships. So, while we still have to wait for real-world tests, one thing is certain: the Galaxy S26 lineup will be incredibly powerful, and Samsung is clearly ready to take the lead in smartphone performance once again.